When you think of frozen lands, Alaska or Antarctica come to mind, right? But what if I told you there's a place even more mysterious and challenging? Hidden in the middle of the Arctic Ocean, Svalbard is a destination that defies the laws of life and death. Yes, you heard that right. Here, no one can be born, and dying is forbidden. And if that wasn't surreal enough, imagine spending months in total darkness without a single ray of sunlight. But wait, there's more. Svalbard holds one of the greatest secrets on Earth, an inviolable vault, known as the Doomsday Vault, that protects the future of humanity. Want to know how all of this connects? Why this place exists, and what more it hides? Get ready for a journey to the closest point to the end of the world, where the rules don't apply and the mysteries only deepen. Don't blink, because Svalbard is going to surprise you like never before. Imagine a place so distant that it feels like the end of the world. Svalbard is a group of islands located between Norway and the North Pole, where extreme cold, snow-covered mountains and vast glaciers dominate everything. But, believe it or not, life manages to adapt even in this frozen environment. Spitsbergen, the largest of these islands, is the heart of Svalbard, and it's there that the magic happens, or at least what we can call life in such a remote place. The main town is called Longyearbyen, home to about 2,000 brave souls, including scientists, miners, and explorers, who have dared to face this frozen landscape. This small town is like an island of civilization, surrounded by an immense desert of ice, where winter seems never-ending. But don't be fooled. Getting here is a true adventure, an epic journey for those seeking to explore the unexplored. And do you know why this is important? Because Svalbard is not just a beautiful and mysterious place. It holds secrets that could change the future of our planet. If you think you can simply hop in a car and drive to the Arctic, think again. There are no roads connecting Svalbard to the mainland. To reach this frozen land, there are basically two options: by air or by sea. And believe me, the journey there is an adventure in itself. The fastest and most practical way is by plane. There are regular flights departing from Oslo and Tromsø, taking you directly to Longyearbyen, Svalbard's main metropolis. But for those seeking an even more epic experience, how about an expedition cruise? During the summer, these cruises navigate through the icy waters of the Arctic, sailing between towering icebergs. And if luck is on your side, you might even cross paths with a majestic polar bear welcoming you. Whether by plane or boat, one thing is for sure: the journey to Svalbard already sets the tone for the great adventure that lies ahead. Imagine a place where anyone can move without needing a visa or special permission. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, in Svalbard, this is a reality. But before you pack your bags, there's one important detail. Anyone who decides to live in this extreme environment needs to be incredibly self-sufficient. Unlike many places in the world, Svalbard does not offer the social services we're used to. If you're thinking about hospitals, schools, or government support, you'd better forget it. Life here is tough, and there aren't many safety nets. Those who choose this place must be ready to face isolation and biting cold. Job opportunities are mainly in mining, tourism, and scientific research. And the small community, composed of people from various parts of the world, is united by the courage and determination to face life in this hostile environment. It's not easy, but for those willing to accept the challenge, the reward is living in one of the most unique and remote places on the planet. Ready to find out if you have what it takes to face Svalbard? To understand how Svalbard is governed today, we need to go back a bit in history. The first references to the archipelago come from Icelandic sagas of the 10th and 11th centuries. But it was in 1596 that the Dutch navigator Willem Barents spotted and recorded the largest island, Spitsbergen, named after its sharp mountains. In the following centuries, countries like the Netherlands and England began using the region for whaling and resource exploration, leading to rivalries and territorial disputes. In the 19th century, these powers clashed, each trying to claim Svalbard as its own. But since no definitive agreement could be reached, The archipelago remained a kind of no man's land. This changed in the early 20th century when coal mining grew, and villages like Longyearbyen and Barentsburg began to form, highlighting the need for formal governance. In 1920, after World War I, the Svalbard Treaty was signed. This agreement granted Norway sovereignty over the archipelago, but with an important condition. The economic resources of Svalbard would be open to all signatory countries, and military use would be strictly prohibited. Since the treaty's implementation in 1925, Svalbard has been administered by a governor appointed by Norway, who serves as the main local authority. This structure allows Svalbard to remain a peaceful territory, where economic exploration is international, but the rules are clear and upheld under Norwegian sovereignty. You might think that in such a remote place with no military presence, Svalbard would be chaotic, right? But the reality is quite different. With only 12 police officers, order is surprisingly well maintained, and sometimes in curious ways. For example, you don't need to worry about speeding tickets, but if you disturb a polar bear, get ready to pay a hefty fine of 70,000 Norwegian kroner. That's right, polar bears are extremely protected, and even the ice floes, the floating ice they use for hunting, are so important that disturbing them with a boat can land you in serious trouble. What's most interesting is that, despite Svalbard seeming inhospitable, trust among residents is essential. Leaving car and house doors unlocked isn't just a sign of hospitality, it's a safety measure, allowing anyone to take shelter from the extreme cold in an emergency. And if you're thinking about doing something wrong there, think again. In 2018, a Russian attempted to rob the archipelago's only bank. But with only 40 kilometers of road and a small airport, the escape was short-lived. He was quickly caught and taken back to the mainland to serve his sentence. So, even in this wild environment, Svalbard's security relies on collaboration between people and respect for nature. The real challenge here is facing the extreme conditions, not the other residents. Now imagine living in a place where there are practically no roads connecting the towns. That sounds strange, doesn't it? But in Svalbard, this is reality. Each village is almost like an isolated island, and to travel from one place to another, you need a boat, plane, or, most commonly, a snowmobile, which is like a snow motorcycle. These vehicles are essential because regular cars simply can't handle the ice and snow-covered terrain. But if you're looking for an even more amazing adventure, you can travel like the Arctic explorers of old, using dog sleds. This connects you even more to Svalbard's wild nature and makes you feel part of a unique and authentic experience. Living in a place without roads might seem difficult, but it's precisely this difference that makes Svalbard so special and fascinating. Here, even getting around is an adventure. Svalbard's economy has gone through many changes. In the past, coal was the foundation of everything. The Norwegian state-owned company Store Norske was primarily responsible for exploiting the archipelago's large coal reserves. This led to the rise of villages around the mines, attracting workers from various parts of the world and driving Svalbard's development. But over time, coal reserves began to dwindle, and environmental concerns gained prominence. Mining, which was once the heart of the economy, lost its strength, making room for new opportunities. Today, Svalbard focuses on two main activities: tourism and scientific research. Longyearbyen, the largest town, has become a starting point for Arctic expeditions and a global hub for climate and biodiversity research. Although mining still exists in some areas, it is gradually being phased out. Villages that once thrived around the mines are now abandoned, becoming open-air museums, silent witnesses of a bygone era. This transformation shows how Svalbard is always adapting, changing its economy to reflect a new future, where preservation and discovery are the new riches. Now imagine walking through a city where time seems to have frozen. Pyramiden, a former Soviet city in Svalbard, is exactly like that. Abandoned in 1998, it still maintains its buildings and infrastructure almost untouched, as if people suddenly left everything behind. It's almost as if you're stepping into a time capsule, where every corner tells a story of a past suspended in the air. And Pyramiden is not the only one. Grumant, abandoned in the 1960s, still bears traces of its past, as if waiting to be rediscovered. Sveagruva, which was active until 2017, has now turned into yet another ghost town after the mining activities ended. These places, with their deserted streets and silent buildings, make us wonder, what happened here? Who lived in these cities? Exploring these open-air museums is like traveling through time and discovering the secrets of an era that has disappeared but still whispers fascinating stories to those who dare to visit. Imagine living in a place where winter is so cold that temperatures can drop below minus 20 degrees Celsius. In Svalbard, the cold is truly extreme, but houses are prepared for this, with heating systems, running water, and electricity that keep everything functioning, even when ice takes over outside. And when summer arrives, things change a bit. Temperatures rise to around 5 degrees Celsius. The ice melts, revealing a completely different landscape, full of life and color. But what really stands out in Svalbard are two incredible phenomena. The polar night, when total darkness takes over for months, and the midnight sun when the sun never sets, shining 24 hours a day. These phenomena make Svalbard a unique place, where nature challenges what we're used to and makes us rethink what it would be like to live in such an extraordinary environment. Now, imagine living in a place where, from November to February, the sun simply disappears. In Svalbard, this phenomenon is known as the polar night. During these months, the only light you'll see comes from the stars and, if you're lucky, the breathtaking northern lights dancing in the dark sky. But living without the sun for so long isn't easy. This constant darkness can deeply affect residents, bringing challenges like intense sadness, lack of energy, and in some cases, even problems like depression and substance abuse. The body and mind miss the daylight, and it takes a lot of strength to face these dark months. However, the polar night also has its magic. Those who live in Svalbard learn to cherish every moment, relying on the community and the rare beauty that only this extreme place can offer. Now, imagine living in a place where carrying a weapon is not only allowed, but mandatory. In Svalbard, if you want to venture outside the urban areas, you need to bring a rifle with special ammunition. And do you know why? Because you could encounter a polar bear at any moment. But don't worry, they've been protected by law since 1973, so you can only shoot if you're really in danger. These incredible polar bears are the true kings of this icy land, and the rule exists to ensure that both people and animals remain safe. So, besides preparing for the cold, those who live in or visit Svalbard also need to always be alert and ready to respect the reign of these Arctic giants. It may sound like something out of a movie, but in Svalbard, no one can be born or die. That's right, it's forbidden. The reason? The island lacks adequate medical infrastructure for childbirth or caring for the gravely ill. Moreover, the ground in Svalbard is permanently frozen, permafrost, which even makes it difficult to bury bodies. So, when a woman is about to have a baby or someone is seriously ill, they are taken to the mainland where they can receive the necessary care. This curious rule ensures that Svalbard remains one of the most unique and mysterious places in the world, where life and death follow their own rules. Did you know that there's a place in Svalbard that could save the future of our planet? It's the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, also known as the Doomsday Vault. This vault stores seeds from plants all around the world, acting like a vast backup for biodiversity. If a global catastrophe ever happens, these seeds could be used to replant and bring back species that might otherwise be lost forever. The most impressive part is that the vault was designed to withstand explosions, climate changes, and even to keep the seeds safe for decades without power. It's built in a location where the temperature naturally stays below zero, ensuring the seeds remain preserved no matter what. It's like a hidden treasure that could safeguard the future of life on Earth. Fascinating, isn't it? Svalbard is one of the most enigmatic places on the planet. where the laws of nature seem to be challenged at every turn, in a land where you can't be born or die, where the sun disappears for months, and where polar bears reign supreme. The mysteries don't end there. With its Doomsday Vault protecting humanity's future and its frozen-in-time cities, Svalbard invites us to reflect on what it means to live in such a harsh yet fascinating environment. But, in the end, Svalbard is more than just a remote destination. It's a window into the extreme, where time, climate, and even life itself follow rules that only this corner of the world knows. If you're ready to face one of the Earth's greatest challenges and uncover its best-kept secrets, Svalbard awaits you. And believe me, this journey will change the way you see the world forever.